If you carry a firearm
Yep.
and discharge your weapon in self-defense, you could face hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees and expenses. So carry the protection of CCW Safe, Self-Defense Legal Services membership. Upfront payment of all criminal and civil defense costs with no out-of-pocket for members.
And we are back. Khalid Mahmoud with you, founder of Command 11. Tonight, we've got a different kind of an episode for you. I'm going to hand over to S2 and let him ask the questions tonight because I've got a lot of intelligence to give you guys. Since Friday night, we have been playing whack-a-mole in Afghanistan. We have blown up a lot of bases. We have taken out a lot of people inside of Afghanistan. So I'm going to let us to run the show and ask questions. I'm just going to answer questions tonight rather than doing the question and answer part of it. Let me give you let us to run the conflicted question, and I'll give you a quick brief, and then we'll roll into the episode. S2.
Okay, so for those of you that are new with us tonight, this is how this works. We ask a question from the conflicted game deck, and we want to see what your responses are in the chat at the end of the show. At the end of the show, we'll come back and read it, and we want to see your responses in the chat. So here we go. Describe 5 things someone can do to prepare for the collapse of society. Short and sweet.
This is going to be a fun one.
I already have my answer.
All right, let me give you guys a quick roll into the episode, and then we'll move into question and answer. Friday night, Pakistan decided we've had enough. We have tolerated the Taliban long enough. We have tolerated the terrorism long enough, and we have tolerated their childish excuses about how there's no terrorists in Afghanistan. We decided on Friday night that it was time to settle some scores. Since 2021, Pakistan has lost over 500 soldiers to terror attacks from the Taliban. And when I say Taliban, I'm talking about the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, which is the Pakistani Taliban, which is fully supported by the Afghan Taliban. And there is a division within the Taliban intelligence that is wholly and solely responsible for funding, arming, training, and providing intelligence to the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. On Friday night, we decided that's enough. It was around 10 o'clock at night on Friday when we decided that we were going to go after the head of the TTP. We went after a safe house in Kabul, where not only the TTP frequents, but Al-Qaeda also frequents. We hit the safe house. We also hit Nur Wali Masood, who is the leader of the TTP. We also hit his vehicle as it was moving through the streets of Kabul. To this moment, we still don't know if he's alive or dead. We do know his body was taken to a hospital. We do know the hospital he's at, but no one has confirmed whether he's alive or not. That night, a lot of recordings came out, some saying that he was dead, some saying that he was still alive. So we understand that there's going to be a lot of propaganda played on this, because if we take out the leader of the TTP in Afghanistan, that is going to create all kinds of problems between the Taliban and every terror group that exists inside of Afghanistan, because they believe they're completely secure as long as the Taliban is in government. Now, what happened after that is that the Taliban moved their quote-unquote army to the Pakistan border and decided they were going to start shelling into Afghanistan or into Pakistan. We responded with so much force from the ground that we forced them to abandon their positions, leave their equipment, and run for the hills. This lasted for about 2 hours, where we just fired away. At current count, 4 days later, we are hearing numbers in the neighborhood of around 600 dead Taliban, not civilians, Taliban.
That sounds like Desert Shield. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hang on, folks, today. Khalid's having some technical issues over in Pakistan. He'll be right back with us. At any rate, we've kind of been talking about behind the scenes over here, why
There
it
we go.
is that there you are. You're back. I was
Yeah.
carrying on for you while you were gone.
I'm telling you, they're hearing my words and they're blocking me as I say it. um, we ended up having we took out the first night. We took out Khost. We took out Paktika. We took out Kabul. We hit a couple bases in the north in Jalalabad. On the second day, we continued firing. We had drones in the air. The interesting thing that is that Pakistan has yet to put a fighter, a warplane in the air. We are still attacking with drones and drones only. That's why you see a lot of the video that's being put out on X is drone footage. It's not fighter plane footage. We have been very successful. We've gotten as far as Helmand. We've gotten as far as Kandahar. We have hit the north of Afghanistan. We have hit Kunduz. Let's put it this way. All of the entry routes that were used by the TTP before are gone. They are decimated. All of the training camps that the TTP had along the border are gone. All of the training camps that the Baloch Liberation Army had along the border are gone. We are still operational inside of Afghanistan. We are heavily inside of Afghanistan. Our drones are in the air right now. We have commandos on the ground. I won't talk about the commandos and what they're doing and where they are, but the drones are up in the air. They are targeting. I can tell you right now, as about half an hour ago, we have 4 high-value targets, senior members of the Taliban that are under drone watch. The message has been sent down to the ground that we can see you, we know where you are, and if you move, we will kill you. So the Taliban is running scared right now. They have no idea what to do. Nur Wali Masood, again, we don't know if he's alive or if he's dead. The leader of the Taliban, the Afghan Taliban, Hebatullah Akhundzada, on Friday night when we started bombing Kabul, the IRGC sent a helicopter into Kandahar, picked him up, and moved him to Tehran. So he is in hiding in Tehran right now. This is the level of jihadis they are, that they scream and yell about how they will die for their country, but when war came to them, they went running.
Run away. They went away. They run away.
They all, and we've got video. We've got video that we'll show you at the end of the episode of them running away as we were hitting their camps. It's just every security analyst on around the world has been saying the same thing, that the Taliban is not ready for a conventional war against Pakistan. They're great at terrorism. They're great at suicide bombings, but they are not ready for a conventional war against Pakistan because we're 20 kilometers inside of Afghanistan. I think we've got the map as well. We can show you how far past our border we are inside of Afghanistan. And we have set up a new line of where we control Afghanistan. So that may end up being a buffer zone that we set between us and Afghanistan that no Afghani is allowed. Now, about an hour before we went on the air, about 3 hours before we went on air, all of the mosques in Afghanistan along the border put out a call on their loudspeakers telling by midnight Afghanistan time, which was probably about 4 hours ago, by midnight, they should all vacate their homes, abandon everything they have in their homes, and go and find safety far away from the border. That kind of gives you an understanding of how scared the Taliban is right now, of how pissed off Pakistan is at them. So we are not stopping. We stopped for about 7 hours yesterday, where we let them, and that was on Saudi Arabia's request, that we stop and let them collect their dead bodies. And we did that, and then we started again. So
Khalid, I wanted to ask you a question. So why is it that there are so few outlets here in the United States, or I should say in the West? Why are there so few people that know about what's going on over there?
Well,
Because
you don't have any
nobody's reporting on it here.
you have no media on this side of the world. Nobody other than covering Islamabad, there's nobody from the Western media on this covering anything on this side of the world. Al Jazeera is covering. I think CNN did a couple stories here and there, but just slipshod stories. But the Western media is completely gone black on Afghanistan. They're not even talking about it. The only place you're going to find out about what's happening in Afghanistan is here on Survival Dispatch and on X. And that depends on who you're following on X, on whether you find out what's going on or not.
Do you think that media blackout is CIA induced?
No, the CIA has not put this media blackout in because since 2021, since the US pulled out of Afghanistan, the stories about Afghanistan have been few and far between. There was the one puff piece that the New York Times did about Sirajuddin Haqqani. And other than that, we've seen nothing rolling through the US media about what's going on in Afghanistan. Even when the internet was shut off, there wasn't any media coverage on that as well.
I find that very strange since with October 7th, they had CNN that was embedded with Hamas.
Yep.
When that occurred, I find it very difficult to believe that they don't have embedded reporters over there.
With the Taliban?
Yeah.
I'd be surprised because we've been monitoring the news. I mean, inside the war room, we had all of our drone feeds up. We had all of the global news channels, whether it be BBC, CNN, Al Jazeera, Newsmax, Fox. We had them all running. There was no coverage at all. And the only place we did see coverage was CNN International. Not on CNN US, but CNN International did have coverage running.
Okay. So moving on.
Yeah. But we're going to finish this because we've had enough. The US held us back for a long time and said, no, let us talk to them. Let us, try and work something out. Qatar stepped in a number of times and said, let us talk to them. Qatar paid $40 million to the Taliban and said, build houses far away from the Pakistan border and shift the TTP and all these anti-Pakistan groups across to the western side of Afghanistan. They built the colonies, but the terrorists would refuse to move. They said, no, we will not go. Everyone's tried, and the breaking point finally came, and Pakistan said, that's enough. We're going to settle this ourselves now.
Good.
But a lot of what we're
if you guys were able to get Haqqani, that would pretty much put a stranglehold on any plans they would have with 9/11 2.0, I would think.
We've got him on our target list. Haqqani, Qari Fasiuddin, Habitullah, Mullah Umarsan, Mullah Yaqub, who is defense minister. We have threatened the foreign minister who's in India right now that if he dares to fly over Pakistani airspace, we will shoot the plane down. There is no quarter right now. We don't care who you are. If you are a member of the Taliban leadership, we are after you. There was a very interesting incident, which really didn't make a lot of sense to us at first. And then when we started talking about it, we realized what the story was. The Taliban sent a brigade up to the northern part of Pakistan, which would be along our border with Gilgit. Gilgit is where Sanullah Ghafari is in hiding in a Haqqani network safe house. That is the head of the Islamic State Khorasan province, ISKP. He is in hiding in Gilgit right now in a Haqqani network safe house. We thought it was an attempt to give him coverage so he could escape and get back into Afghanistan, because he is a pure Haqqani network operative. ISKP is a functional arm of the Haqqani network. That's what we thought at first, but when we engaged on the border against them, they ran very, very quickly. We've never seen rabbits run as quick as they ran. So we think he's still stuck up there. And if he's still stuck up there, it's going to leave a lot of options for us to be able to take him off the table as well. But there are a lot of options that Pakistan is discussing right now in terms of where, how, and who. We have not made the decision yet to put warplanes up in the air, because if we put war fighters up, that's the end of Afghanistan. Hands down, that is the end of Afghanistan. So it's the end of the Taliban. So far, it is drones, 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 drones. And our drones have been extremely successful. We have taken out numerous Al-Qaeda camps. We have taken out numerous BLA camps. We've taken out a number of ISKP camps. We've taken out major weapons storehouses. We are now targeting Kunduz, the 201 Khalid bin Walid Brigade in Kunduz, Afghanistan, which is where all of the U.S. weaponry that was left behind was left. So that is a big target for us. We want to take that whole thing out so there's no more weapons that they can use and flaunt around. The objective that the Pakistan military has said is that we want Afghanistan and the Taliban pushed back to where they were pre-2001. So that they were just...
So how do you think the IRGC is going to respond to this?
Well, the IRGC only has limited options. One option is using the Baloch Liberation Army, which they have used very effectively against Pakistan. But now that they've seen that the force that Pakistan is willing to use, I think they are more worried. Right before we went on air, I got a message from a couple of our guys in the war room that said we just hit 2 camps in Balochistan, and the location of the 2 camps they gave me are ISKP camps and BLA camps. So we are bombing on our side of the border and on their side of the border. So it's going to be very difficult for the IRGC to make any kind of move. Right now, we don't even know how much of the Taliban leadership is still alive, because they were caught so off guard that we have no idea how many of them are still alive, and they aren't telling. We've heard about commanders. There is an Al-Qaeda military commander that was taken out in Kabul when we hit the safe houses. The amount of damage when the dust settles, Afghanistan still doesn't know how bad it's going to be. And we are so far into Afghanistan now that we're probably going to set up a buffer zone. And that really limits the amount of things that they can do, because the amount of area we've controlled was traditionally used by Al-Qaeda training camps, TTP training camps, and BLA training camps.
Well, that's that 20-kilometer space that you guys control right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So here's you and I talked about this the other day. Doherty one in the chat's asking, did DJT persuade or twist the arm for Pakistan to attack? And I think we both pretty much agreed that was a no, but there was a green light given.
There was a green light given. There was no way that we could have carried out this level of sustained attack without the U.S.'s approval. Because again, the U.S. has certain objectives inside of Afghanistan, Bagram being the biggest. But for the U.S. government to say, yeah, we're not going to say anything. We've also heard that the U.S. government has told India, do not even lift a finger. If you do, the repercussions will be very serious for India as well if they try and defend the Taliban right now.
We'll tear the crap out of you.
Well, look, right now, no matter how much President Trump says that we are on good terms with Prime Minister Modi, we know that the real relationship between India and the U.S. is very strained, and they cannot afford to have the U.S. even more ticked off at them. And if they were to get involved right now while Pakistan is beating the hell out of the Taliban, it will raise a lot of anger inside the U.S. towards India. So we know that message was passed to India that if you lift a finger, if you put a plane in the air, it will not be good for you. We will tell Pakistan to let loose on you as well.
Yeah, I think the signal for me was when you announced all of the bombings that had taken place around Bagram. Bagram wasn't touched.
Yep.
And the week previous to that, Trump said, I want Bagram. Tell the Taliban I want Bagram.
Yep.
And Bagram wasn't touched. That was the signal to me that we had given them the green light for this.
Well, interesting point. Bagram right now is being protected by 3,500 police officers and 300 members of the Badr 313 Brigade, the Taliban's most elite special forces team. So if the U.S. wanted to come in and take it right now, it's on a platter. Take it.
There we go.
So, I mean, a lot of people asked us that question as well. I've talked to a lot of people, and they've asked us the same question: that was this bombing part of a U.S. strategy to get Bagram back? And we said, look, we didn't even talk to the U.S. in terms of going to the level we went to. We wanted a payback for what was going on with Pakistan and in Afghanistan. We had heard too much that there are no terrorists on Afghan soil. We all know that was false. We all knew that was a load of crap. And we decided that's enough. If there's no terrorists there, then all of the camps that you have for all these terrorists, then we'll wipe them out so that there are no terrorists there.
So I've got another question for you. We had been talking in weeks previous about the IRGC cartel link ups and how they're intermeshed with their operations, even with gangs like TDA out of Venezuela. How do you think this is going to impact those relationships and their response to this particular attack?
Well, here's the thing. The problem right now is that the Taliban leadership, the Al Qaeda leadership, is all scurrying for places to hide. Um, the only thing we can see right now, if there's going to be any kind of a move in the West, whether it be Europe or the United States, the only way they can do it is with outsourced terror. So they will be paying cartels, groups like Antifa, who IRGC linked up with last month, to carry out whatever attacks they want to carry out there. Because right now, the Taliban and Al Qaeda don't even have a safe haven of their own. They don't know right now with drones in the air. They still can't figure out if they're the target or if a base is the target. And the fear has spread across so fast in Afghanistan that people are looking for places to hide. And when you are looking for a place to hide, it's very difficult to plan an attack in another country. So what we're going to see is IRGC is leveraging their relationships with the cartels. What that means, and I said this to Chris earlier, I said, what you're going to see is outsourced terror. IRGC, Haqqani Network, the Taliban, Al Qaeda are all going to pump a lot of money into the Mexican cartels, the Venezuelan cartels right now, to push them to carry out minimal attacks, not huge attacks like what we would have expected with
Low intensity conflict. Low intensity conflict.
low intensity. Yep. And what that the issue that we have is as long as Pakistan sustains the bombing, the more it makes it difficult for them to do any kind of future planning. So if we can sustain this bombing until end of October, middle of November, 9/11 2.0 will get pushed to somewhere like April, May of next year. Because by the time these guys can regroup, replan, reset themselves up, and go after a major target, they will need a lot of time. And until things are stable in Afghanistan, they can't do it. And IRGC doesn't have the ability to carry out an attack like that. So it's low intensity conflict, and low intensity is easily managed.
So do you think in light of the fact that the cartels are in cahoots with the IRGC, are you saying that you think we're going to start seeing a ramp up of low-level terrorist attacks here in the United States carried out by cartel members?
Yeah, without doubt, without doubt. Because look, when you lose your big guns, it's like when Bin Laden was killed, Al Qaeda fell apart. Right now, it's literally the same effect, because instead of it being just Bin Laden that's gone, you have seen the entire infrastructure that was inside of Afghanistan being collapsed. And being collapsed in such a way and by such a country that they never thought would do it. The Taliban expected that either the US or a US ally would come in and do what we did. For Pakistan to do it, they didn't even believe that was possible. And the level that we have done it at, that was something they knew wasn't possible.
So I have a pretty good imagination. I can kind of figure this out on my own. But for our audience out there, what what kind of low-level attacks do you think we might start seeing coming out of the cartels? Because with
Well,
everything that's going on with ICE in the country and the immigration enforcement and all that stuff, a lot of
yeah,
these guys are going to be really easy to spot, and they
yeah,
probably already know they're here. They're just
yeah,
having because they're what we would term as lone wolf. They're hard to locate because of their decentralization.
yeah.
So what should people be looking for because we're now back into the stage of see something, say something. And if people
Yeah,
see something, they need to step up and say something.
you have
Get
to.
your
Yeah.
heads out of your weapons of mass distraction and
Yep.
start looking around you.
Yep.
And I think that would be a great help in trying to stave off some of these attacks.
Well, look, if you're talking about what you should be looking for, first thing you should be looking for is people that are out of place. When you see someone who is someplace where they don't belong, high-end shopping areas, um, housing societies where they don't belong, vehicles that have shown up that were never there before, you need to keep an eye on those things, because the biggest thing, that the biggest type of attack you could see right now is a car bomb. And a car bomb does a significant amount of damage, spreads a little bit of fear, but doesn't cost as much as it would to carry out an armed assault. So what you're looking for is people that are out of place, people that may be casing your neighborhood. And those are easy to pick off because everyone in the US has cameras on their houses now. So they can go back and rewind and check the video and see if there's a vehicle that's been coming through on a daily basis that wasn't there before. Keep a very close eye on new faces wherever you may be, wherever your child may be going to school, where you may be shopping, where you may be going for hospital treatment. Keep an eye out for new faces that all of a sudden start appearing and roaming around. As what I always say is, when you find somebody roaming aimlessly, that's the guy you need to keep an eye on,
That's
because
like
he's got
well, it's like some of the reports that I've been getting lately from some of the locals around here is we're getting reports of illegals being moved into housing, not necessarily houses per se, but yes, into neighborhoods for short periods of time, and then they're picked up and moved out, and another group are moved in their place. So you have this influx of new faces coming in and out of those neighborhoods, and
Yep.
those are trouble areas that I see emerging.
Well, those are danger zones. I mean, the problem we've always had is that when you start seeing faces changing on a regular basis, that's an Al Qaeda trademark. They will move people in. Someone will come. They'll set up the location. They'll set up all the facilities that they need there. They will move out. Another group will move in. When that second group moves in, they're there for a certain reason. They're either there for surveillance or for reconnaissance.
Well,
They
these
do their
are
job. They move out. They come. Another group moves in.
yeah, these aren't Middle Eastern. These are
I'm
Latin
talking Mexican.
in
Yeah, yeah.
origin.
But see, the
They
mentality, the tradecraft is the same, Stu. The
yeah
tradecraft is the same. And that's what I'm trying to highlight, because what you're seeing right now, what you're hearing about right now from locals, is exactly what the tradecraft is for Al Qaeda. One team goes in, sets up the location. Second team goes in, does surveillance and recon. Third team goes in, plans out the attack. Fourth team goes in and carries out the attack. So it's never the same faces you see for an extended period of time. At the most, you may see for a month, maybe a couple of weeks. If the
yeah
time frame is very quick, a week at a time, where a week later these faces are gone, new faces come in, and they move into the exact same place where the old faces were, which is another dead ringer.
yeah. We're
That why
hearing the rotation is about every 90 days.
Yeah, see, that's what Al Qaeda does, and Al Qaeda is the one teaching these guys from the backside, from the back end. We have to remember the cartels are not connected directly to Al Qaeda. They're connected to IGRC or Hezbollah. When you are connected with them, when you step back from them, you are talking about Al Qaeda and you're talking about the Islamic State. So the tradecraft that's being taught is the same tradecraft that's being used by the terror groups. So that's what you're going to see in the US now, is that tradecraft being implemented. And one thing I keep telling people, when you see someone sitting somewhere and he's got his phone up in front of him and he keeps moving it around like this, he's videotaping something, he's recording something. Pay attention to what he's doing, because that guy is doing surveillance and recon for somebody else.
Yeah, like if you see a guy that's wearing a big thick leather coat in the middle of summer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They've kind of moved away from that one, but you see bulky clothing now. You'll see a guy wearing a suit coat on top of a shirt on that has a sweater on top of that, and you go, wait a minute, it's like 85, 90 degrees. Why has he got a sweater on? And why is he wearing a coat on top of that? And those are red. I mean, because we've been in this war zone for so long, we've been able to figure out how to pick them off. I mean, you drop me in the middle of New York City, and I'll tell you, terrorist, 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 terrorist. I'll point them out for you because I've gotten so used to being able to figure out what their characteristics are.
Yeah, I was
And
gonna say
for
their body
someone,
language gives them
yeah.
away every time.
Well, the other thing is when you get a guy who will not look you in the eye, someone comes into a store and he's talking to the shopkeeper and he won't look him in the eye. That's someone else to pay attention to because he's making every effort that the camera sitting above the cash register does not get him on camera.
Well, isn't that also could be mistaken for a cultural thing? Because you have a lot of places where eye contact is generally like China, for instance. Eye contact is even here in the United States now. Eye contact isn't very prevalent. And when you do make eye contact with somebody, it scares the shit out of them.
Yeah, but in a store, why would you have a problem with eye contact? I mean, you make eye contact once or twice with the shopkeeper at any point in time. I mean, when you're handing the money, you look him in the face.
Well, I
That shouldn't
noticed
be.
I noticed this trend here. I think starting about 3 years ago. I thought after the first year of COVID, everything was people were just afraid. But now I started seeing this trend, even with what I call normal people not making eye contact with people. And I think they've just become conditioned to not make eye contact with people. So it's harder to pick that kind of behavior up out of a crowd.
Well, I'm one of those that pays close attention. I mean, if you, for example, you don't make eye contact with me, but if you walk away from me and your head doesn't come up, there's something wrong. Because once you're away from me, you're not making eye contact anymore. You need to start looking around to see where you're going. And if your head does not come up, I go, okay, watch that guy.
Well, what's that
There's
say
something.
about me? Every time I go into a store, I don't my head doesn't go up because I don't want the camera to see me.
Yeah, yeah. But you and I are different. you, you and I are different. But the thing that we have to figure out now is all of these people that have come to the US, they have come with an intention and a mentality of how to operate inside the US. And in the US, shaking hands, talking to people, behaving a certain way is required, otherwise your cover will be blown. You get some guys that have just come to the US that are not proficient, for lack of a better word, in the craft that they need to maintain to stay undetected in the US. And those are the people that normally tip you off faster than anyone else. One of the key things we look at is people that are, and I hate saying it this way, but people that have a tendency to get flared up over something that is absolutely normal. When that's a very cultural thing on the Middle East. In the Middle East, it's very normal when people start talking to you for them to get a little excited, their tone to go up, their language to go up, their language to change, because it's very common in the Middle East for that to happen. It's not considered offensive here. It is in the US. And when you see someone start behaving that way and getting a little bit hyper and getting a little bit angry and start acting more aggressively, that's someone you also need to keep an eye on. And we're getting a lot of reports of that happening throughout the US now, where people are getting upset with medical representatives, with doctors, with nurses, with shopkeepers, and it's over little things, very little things that normally would not cause anyone, would not pinch a normal American. But someone who is there and not behaving the way they should be behaving, they automatically kick off and they go, what? And that triggers people. We go, wait a minute, that's not supposed to happen.
So let's talk a little bit about Syria and Libya and what their involvement is in all of this, because you mentioned earlier that you've choked off all of their entry points into Afghanistan now. So how are they going to develop new routes into Pakistan or any place else for that matter?
Well, this is okay. This is one of the reasons we had such a problem with Syria and Libya being left alone. On one side, you've got Tom Barak sitting and worshiping at Jolani's feet. And if you watch the 60 Minutes interview that aired over the weekend, I mean, that was a propaganda fest in the most amazing way. You might as well have gotten down and just worshipped his feet. If I remember Jelani's statement, if I believed in the ideologies of Al Qaeda and the Islamic State, I'd still be a member. Well, dude, you are still a member. What do you mean you'd still be a member? You are still a member. And the problem now is the amount of support that he's gotten from the US. Jelani has now set up his own passport system, just like Haqqani had back in Afghanistan, where any terrorist could come, hand in their identification, fake, have a new passport created from Afghanistan with a fake name on it. That passport would then be used for that person to travel to the US or to Europe. Now, what Jelani has done, he's done the exact same thing. He's taken all of the transients that came in from Afghanistan to help him conquer Syria, and he's given them all Syrian nationality. And with Syrian nationality, he's given them houses as well. So what you have is a place for the family of the terrorist to settle while the terrorist goes abroad and fights wars. What he's also done is through their own connections through different terrorists. Inside of Tajikistan, inside of Uzbekistan, they have people that are issuing passports to terrorists there as well. So what you have end up happening is you get a passport in Syria, that guy travels to Uzbekistan, changes his passport, changes his name when he gets a new passport, flies to Libya, changes his passport again, changes his name again, and then flies onwards to the West. How do you track that guy? And
comes here to the United States, gets a CDL license with no name given on it.
Yep, with no name given on it. And the problem is again, I keep saying this, because the U.S. intelligence community has dropped the ball on this side of the world, they don't know what's happening. I mean, I know for a fact there are a number of terrorists, 5, 6, 7, 8 that I know of for a fact that have bought U.S. citizenship, that have paid the $500,000 and gotten a U.S. passport, and they are known terrorists.
Wow.
And this, again, the terrorists don't have any kind of limit on money. The U.S. is giving them $40 million a week. To pay $500,000 to get a terrorist into the U.S., nothing. That's absolutely nothing for them. And what's happened is a lot of what Donald Trump tried to create to streamline the immigration process and make it better for assimilation for people to come to the U.S. is being used by terrorist organizations to sneak their own people in. I know there are 3 Afghanis, there are 2 Uzbeks, there is 1 Tajik who have all bought U.S. nationality and have a blue passport and are now living inside the U.S.
So back again to my question about their new routes and how they would be able to get into Pakistan or any place else.
Yeah.
How are they? Obviously, through their networks, they're going to be able to accomplish that. How is Pakistan going to address any new establishments of routes?
Well, Pakistan has made one really interesting step. Right after we started the bombing of Afghanistan, the government of Pakistan passed a law very quickly. If you are an Afghani, legal, illegal, does not matter. You have 30 days to get out of our country. And we don't care if you go to Afghanistan, we don't care if you go to India, but you will not stay in Pakistan. And that is now a rule that if we can trace your family back to Afghanistan, you will not be given a visa to enter the country. And if we catch you in the country, well, you've got a lot more problems, because as part of that law, they've said if anyone rents them a house, anyone rents them a shop, anyone sells them property, they will lose the property or the shop they've rented them or the house they've rented them, and that will become possession of the state. And the person who rented them that house will be charged under terrorism laws. So Pakistan has taken a very firm stand now that we will not allow anything to come into this country that even relates to terrorism. I have also heard that next week, well, not next week, this week, there'll be another bill put forward. Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, certain provinces of Iran will also be added into that list of people that are not allowed to live inside of Pakistan, because they are all connected to terror infrastructures. Therefore, they will not be allowed to enter the country.
So then it sounds like their only choice is to start pushing west.
Well,
which would be going to North America, South America, and Africa. Well, Africa's kind of, yeah. I mean, there's Libya, of course. They could go there.
Yeah, but see, this is where the problem is. I mean, if you start pushing towards South America or towards Africa, you don't have the business opportunities there that you have in this region. India is the reason we said India was that we don't want the terror rights organizations to start screaming and yelling about how we're kicking them back to Afghanistan and they'll be executed when they go back there. Fine, don't go to Afghanistan. Go to India. That is Afghanistan's best friend. They are financing you. They are giving you all kinds of benefits. Go there and live. Let the Afghanis go live there.
But India can't do that either because of the optics.
They have to. You don't have much of a choice anymore because India has been. See, this is what we want to make clear to the Afghanis, that India was ready to use you as cannon fodder, but they're not ready to let you live in their country. They were more than happy to let you. We have 3 million Afghanis in Pakistan right now that still have refugee status. As per the United Nations, still have refugee status. 3 million Afghanis that are spread throughout the country. They are not sitting in refugee camps like they would be in any other country in the world. We have let them go to Islamabad, to Karachi, to Lahore, set up businesses, buy houses, live like normal people. Not for this, so you turn into terrorists against us. Now the government of Pakistan has turned around and said, wait a minute. We cannot sift through every single Afghani and figure out which one's a good one, which one's the bad one. So let's do this. All of you get out. And once you all leave, you can now apply for a visa to come back to Pakistan. If you wish, we'll do a full background check on you. Once we've done that background check, then we can make choices as to whether we'll let you in the country or not. But we will not allow the free flow of Afghanis to come into the country that, oh my God, the terrorists have control of the Taliban. The Taliban have control of Afghanistan. It's all terrorism. It's all violence. It's this. We will not allow that to go on anymore because that is the excuse you're using to come to Pakistan. And in Pakistan, you're carrying out terror activities or you're housing terrorists. And that cannot be allowed anymore. That's the decision that the government of Pakistan made, which is something that should have been done a long time ago. About a year ago, and you'll remember this was all over the media. About a year ago, we started rounding up Afghanis all over Pakistan and deporting them back to Afghanistan. That created a lot of hue and cry amongst the terror rights organizations. And the terror rights organization said, look, you're sending them to a regime that will kill them. That's their country, whether they will kill them or not. When the Karzai government was in power, for Karzai and Ghani were in power for 20 years, they didn't go back to Afghanistan then when Afghanistan was stable. Why should we continue to let them stay here? And we're talking about people that have been here since 1979. That is 40 years we have tolerated these people.
That was when Khomeini came to power in Iran.
Yeah. That's when the Soviets invaded Afghanistan. Yeah. So we've taken you since then, and we have tolerated you. We've let you live in our country. We've educated you. We've given you medical treatment. We've let you run businesses. And when you run into an Afghani on the street in Pakistan, all they can do is curse Pakistan. Get the hell out of our country then. If you hate us so much, get out. Go back to the Taliban. Go live in India. You love the Indians so much, go live with them.
I think that's the model that the United States needs to adopt right now.
Well, if you remember, JJ was on the show one day, and JJ said the same thing. He said, Pakistan did the right thing when they turned around to the Afghans and get out. You're an illegal, get out. We don't want you in our country. And the interesting thing is, when Pakistan does it, all of the terror rights organizations jump and start screaming. When Iran did it, and Iran kicked out 3 million Afghanis in a span of 3 months, banned entry and work and living rights inside of it in 19 provinces of Iran, no one said a word. Not one human rights organization said, oh my God, they can't come to work. They can't come live there anymore. They can't do this. They can't do this. No one said anything. But when Pakistan does it, all of a sudden everyone has a problem. Now Pakistan said, scream and yell as much as you want. Either get out or go to India. You are not staying in Pakistan.
So Khalid, what do you say we take a break here for a second and we come right back after a quick message from Chris. Nick, can you pull that?
The world is getting more dangerous and unpredictable every day. Your family's safety depends on how prepared you are. For just $7.99 a month or $74.99 a year with 2.5 months free, Survival Dispatch Guardian membership gives you powerful tools and resources to stay ready. When you join, you're automatically enrolled in the Survival Dispatch Emergency Notification System, and you'll get critical alerts fast. You'll also get an invite to our private, high-traffic signal chat where members and experts share breaking intel. Guardians receive all 37 of our Survival Dispatch Insider e-magazines, normally $9.99 each, a $370 value, plus early access to our exclusive instructional videos before they go public. Join thousands of like-minded Americans who refuse to be caught off guard. Become a Survival Dispatch Guardian today at www.survivaldispatch.news/subscribe.
And we're back. So let's talk about some of the lovely propaganda that Afghanistan's been putting out about this high-level event. Apparently, while Pakistan's campaign has won broad support among counter-terrorist analysts, the Afghans are pushing a competing narrative framing Pakistan as the aggressor and victimizing Kabul. What do you have to say about that?
Well, here's the thing. I really enjoy reading the Afghani comments. Let's see. Somehow a plane was able to take off from Afghanistan, fly 800 kilometers across Pakistan and bomb Lahore, and then fly 800 kilometers back to Afghanistan without being detected at all. Now, last I had heard, the Afghanis don't even know how to fly an airplane, much less, fly it across Pakistan where airspace was shut down. So that was one story. India has pumped a lot of information out saying that, let's see, India has sold the Taliban government Tejas fighter planes, which India to this day has not flown. They're using all these foreign planes that they have bought from other countries. They have not flown their own domestically made plane, which is the Tejas, Tejas. They have said that the Afghan Taliban has shot down a JF-17. Don't know how. They have said that they have taken control of Lahore. They have controlled Islamabad. The level of propaganda is the exact same propaganda we saw back in May when the war between India and Pakistan was going on. Very similar tone, very similar level of BS, nothing provable. And I still remember that once the war was done, there were a couple of Indian channels that literally apologized to their public for feeding them such a line of crap that India has done so well.
So why don't we see any of this information coming out of Pakistan making its way over here to the United States?
You're not following the right accounts. Pakistan, if you look at Pakistani X, you can't roll through your timeline without seeing news or videos of what's going on in Afghanistan. And because we were out of commission for 4 days, we were out of offline for 4 days. We weren't posting, so a lot of the information that we would have normally gotten into the U.S. from our account was silenced because we were in the middle of helping planning and targeting the targets inside of Afghanistan. But as of today, you've seen we start popping again. We start popping information out because a lot of the things that were put out, and you have to understand this, Pakistan has the same problem. We have certain people within our structure that will put out information that violates operational security. And they were sharing videos of drone strikes before the army was sharing the video of the drone strike.
So I want to hit a point with you here real quick. So we heard all of the bitching on X today because all of these American news agencies and the foreign news agencies won't sign over the Pentagon's new terms to be able to cover any of the military stuff that's going on, which I find is extremely refreshing because the media has been allowed free roam of the Pentagon for so long to go wherever they want to go. They get to go to sensitive areas where sensitive issues are being discussed. They get to hear this and leak it. And that's
Yep.
why we have such security issues in this country that we have.
Yep.
And I find this so refreshing now to say to any of these reporters that are bitching about this, yeah, it just means that there's no more free lunches, guys. You only get told what we want, what we think you need to know, and what you need to report.
Well, that's how it is in Pakistan. I mean, I don't mean to be nasty, but in Pakistan we have a public relations department for the military. No journalist is allowed beyond that beyond that
No,
door.
no,
You are
you
not
have a
allowed.
you have a zero trust model, is what you have.
Yeah, we have to. We have to, because the amount of bullshit that's put out about the Pakistani military, because we've seen it done with politicians, the number of quote unquote scandals that have been put out and then not been able to be proven in court. We have learned that it's better that we not let you anywhere near sensitive information than have to worry about contradicting what you put out. So in Pakistan, we have the model the US has adopted now, that you are not allowed inside of our headquarters, period.
What I find interesting is that there's only one news outlet that agreed to sign those terms, and that
Yep.
was OAM.
One news. Yep.
And I'm sitting here today. I've told a number of these reporters today. I'm like, well, looks like you better go down to Office Depot and get some boxes because you're going to be needing them. You're going to be out of a job soon.
Yeah. Well, look, the US has been plagued by this for many, many years, especially during the war times. The amount of leakers, I mean, McChrystal, why did he leave? Petraeus, why did he leave?
Yeah.
The amount of leaks that have happened and the detriment of those leaks was significant enough to cause military leadership to collapse. You cannot have that happen, especially when you're a country that's at war. And as far as I'm concerned right now, the US is at war.
We are.
Whether it be domestically, whether it be internationally, the US is at war. And if you allow the same liberal media to walk along the halls of the Pentagon and pick up a conversation here, pick up a conversation there, pick up a conversation there, and start making up a story that this is what we heard inside the Pentagon. And that's how it's reported.
Sources say.
Sources inside the Pentagon say, and there's no context to it, there's no proof to it, but sources say so. And unnamed sources are like throwing shit at a wall.
It's a psyop.
Yeah.
It's a psyop. And that's one of the things that I've trained a lot of people on, was how to recognize these things. Whenever you hear somebody say high level sources inside the government, I can't name, that phrase right there should have your bullshit meter going off like 100%.
I can't name. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's something that because we follow the US media on a daily basis. And whenever I see that in an article, sources inside the White House, sources inside the Pentagon, I go, okay, this is bullshit.
That means a reporter. That means a reporter that heard something.
I saw it on a tweet someplace, and I'm going to say sources inside the White House because I can't say, well, I saw it in a tweet somewhere, or I saw it on some unknown blog somewhere. So you credit it to someone inside the White House. All of a sudden you pick up weight. All of a sudden you pick up interest because it's either the Pentagon or the White House saying it. When you take that access away, which is what Pete Hegseth has done now, you are coming to a model that exists in the rest of the world. Journalists are not given this kind of free access like the US gives free access. Nowhere in the world are journalists given that kind of free access, especially inside of war departments.
And it's not, I repeat, a violation of your First Amendment to not be privy to information that will cost lives.
Yep.
Period.
Yep.
So moving on to this, Afghanistan's foreign minister told some journalists that we have 5 other neighbors all happy with us. What was that all about?
Yeah, if you remember, he said, I remember the statement, this was about 3 days ago, the Afghani foreign minister sitting in New Delhi said, well, all 5 of the neighbors around us are really happy. Let's count the 5 neighbors. Pakistan, Iran, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan. Those are your 5 neighbors. Okay.
I don't think any of them are happy with them.
Well, let's break this down. Let's break this down. Iran is run by the IRGC. IRGC makes money from the Taliban. So they're obviously happy with you. They're obviously happy with you because they're making money from you. Ask the local Irani whether he's happy with you or not. Then we'll have a baseline to work off of. Tajikistan is fed up with you because you are inciting a revolution inside of Tajikistan to overthrow the sitting democratic government for a government like this, like what exists in the Taliban or that exists in Afghanistan. Tajikistan is not happy with you. Uzbekistan is not happy with you because the Islamic movement of Uzbekistan is based in Afghanistan, and they are another movement looking to overthrow a democratically elected government. So that makes 3 countries, right? Pakistan. Let's make this really simple. Just last week at the Moscow summit, big press coverage, everyone was talking about it. Iran, India, Pakistan, China, Russia, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, all signed a declaration saying Afghanistan needs to put an end to terrorism on its soil. How is everyone happy with you?
That's a good question.
This is that narrative that they like to use. It. Oh, but everyone likes us. Everyone is happy with us. Why is Pakistan so mad at us? We're mad at you because you keep supporting a terror group that is attacking inside of our country. You are giving them safe haven. You are giving them arms. You are giving them training. And you are saying, go, attack. And when we tell you to stop, you will not stop. So at some point, we are going to have to say, okay, it's time for Big Brother to be the big brother and smack little brother into the ground. So you understand that Big Brother, when he says that's enough, that's enough. And that's what happened over the past week. But I want to go backwards a little bit. The Taliban has also said, and this was about 3 months ago, the Taliban said, well, you know, the TTP that exists inside of Afghanistan is because Pakistan refused to take them back. We wanted Pakistan to take back all these terrorists because they are Pakistani. We wanted them to take them all back, but they ended up being an inheritance for Afghanistan. Okay. When we wanted to take them back, we wanted to take them back, put them in jails, prosecute them all, figure out which ones were good and bad, de-radicalize them, and then release them into general public. Not just take them back and say, okay, come on back. Come on, everybody, come back. We kicked you out in 2014, but you can come back now. It's okay. Come back, live with us, and carry out terrorist attacks inside of our country. That's not going to happen. And no country in the world would allow that.
And I can tell you, I know for a fact Uzbekistan doesn't want to put up with it either, because Uzbekistan is trying to become another tech hub in the world stage right now. I think they were just named like number 2 as far as being logistical supply chain technology. Can't remember what it was termed as exactly, but they're trying to make deals with the United States and other countries to become a supply chain route for these things, rather than having to go the directions they've been going.
Well, Uzbekistan, Azerbaijan are both trying to emerge as the leaders in the Central Asian republics.
They're trying to be civilized for once.
Yeah, well, look, Tajikistan is trying as well, but Tajikistan is dealing with an internal insurgency sponsored by the Taliban. So they are troubled because of that. Uzbekistan has kicked the IMU out and said, no, the Islamic movement of Uzbekistan does not come back. And if they do, you shoot them on spot. That is standing orders for the Uzbek army. You see one of them, you shoot them where you see them. That's it. You don't let them into the country. So Uzbekistan is trying to stand up on its feet and become one of the powerhouses in the Central Asian republics. That is also what Azerbaijan is trying to do. But when you look at Tajikistan has been destabilized by the Taliban, just like Pakistan has been destabilized by the Taliban. We have a problem that is called Afghanistan. That problem needs to be solved. We thought the U.S. would solve it. The U.S. didn't solve it. Pakistan said, fine, if you won't fix it, we will.
So all of the propaganda that's going on and everything, Pakistan's defense leadership has dismissed this as theater or propaganda in this case.
Yep.
And emphasizing that the Taliban continues to shelter terrorists responsible for Airstrikes and Banu attacks.
Yep.
Can you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah. Well, look, let's go backwards a little bit. Since 2021, the TTP has been fully self-sheltered, nurtured, trained, paid, armed by Afghanistan's intelligence, by the Taliban's intelligence, called the General Directorate of Intelligence. They are not just responsible for taking care of the TTP, but they are responsible for taking care of the Baloch Liberation Army. Now, where does that money come from? Part of it comes from you guys. All the US taxpayer money that is sent to Afghanistan, part of that is used for that. Part of that comes from India. Part of that comes from their drug trade. So they've got three sources of money that they're using to fund and house and feed and push these people to fight. What happened is 2 weeks ago, there was an attack in Oryxay. A convoy of our soldiers with two officers, a lieutenant colonel, and a major leading that convoy was coming back from the border. When they were coming back from the border, the TTP ambushed them and killed 18 and took 6 hostage. That was the first strike that made us go, wait a minute, these guys are not going to settle down. Then there was another attack, which was up in the Kunar area. In the Kurum area. In Kurum, they killed 11 of our soldiers. When they killed that 11, we went, okay, that's enough. They're not going to calm down. The Taliban is not listening when we tell them to stop this. The best way to do this is show them force. Because thus far, we have only carried out, since 2021, we've carried out 3 airstrikes inside of Afghanistan. And all 3 airstrikes, as soon as we carried them out, and I call them the terrorist rights organizations, started screaming and yelling that, oh my God, you killed innocent civilians, you killed innocent civilians. But when those same attacks are carried out by the Taliban inside of Pakistan, cricket silence, not a word, not a single word. From 2007 until 2014, when Pakistan sacrificed 88,000 lives to terrorist attacks, the terrorist right organizations had nothing to say. Not
So
one word.
we can draw parallels with that with what's going on in the United States today.
Yeah.
We start talking about pulling the victim card. So we have ICE, who's been going around the country scooping up illegals and putting them into detention centers for deportation. Meanwhile, we have Antifa and other agitators that are outside these facilities, creating all kinds of problems out here. And while you have all of the human rights organizations or we don't call them terrorists because not all illegals are terrorists. They're just illegal.
Right.
But you have all of these human rights organizations out there saying, what about their due process? What about this and what about that? And yet when Antifa attacks law enforcement officers or journalists, they have nothing to say about it. In fact, they have nothing to say about it when the police arrest them for being attacked.
Yep. This is the problem we have. I mean, we draw a lot of parallels between Pakistan and the US, because on your side of the world, you have these same organizations that are providing cover for the people that want to incite violence inside the United States.
Well, there was a reason there was a reason I wanted to draw that parallel, because chances are very good the same people that are pulling the strings on both sides of the earth are the same people.
Yeah, they are. Because look, again, I'm going to go back to that point, is when you look at what's going on in the US and you look at what's going on in the Muslim world, you have the same problem. The one causing the violence is the one getting all of the attention. They're the ones that everyone's going, oh my God, you arrested them. Oh my God, you killed them. Oh my God, you did this. I'll give you an example. We arrested, from 2007 until 2014, we arrested 9,000 terrorists. 9,000. 9,000 of them, 4,500 were given a death sentence. When it got to the Supreme Court of Pakistan, turned around and said, well, you don't have enough evidence, let them go. And we put the terrorists back on the street again. We have
just
zero.
Like here.
Zero. And this is why I brought that up, because we have zero convictions of terrorists inside of Pakistan. That is why, and a lot of people laugh about the statement I make, but this is why we started battlefield executions. Because instead of putting them in front of a judge who's an idiot and doesn't know what terrorism means and how to convict someone of terrorism, we'll take care of it on the battlefield and put them out of the game so that we don't even see them in the jails or the courtrooms. That's it. They're done. We put them 6 feet under right there out on the field. The same problem you're having in the US right now is that whenever these illegals, domestic terrorists, get in front of a judge. Judge turns around and goes, well, there's not really a lot of evidence here. Let's let them go. Is
We're
it not the
starting,
same thing?
yeah, but we're starting to see some cracks in the dam there.
Yeah.
Judges are starting, they're starting to become a little more aggressive with things. I think they see the writing on the wall, because here's what a lot of judges and law enforcement that are supporting this crap don't understand. They don't understand what's going on, and they don't understand that we're in the middle of a communist takeover right now. That's what
Yeah.
we're in the middle of. We are in a low intensity conflict, civil war right now between Americans and communists.
Yep.
And I think the judges are starting to see the writing on the wall. We've had a lot of favorable decisions come out of the courts here recently. I mean, a lot of them,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not in good standing for the communists. So I think they're starting to see the writing on the wall once again, that if you allow this to continue, this is what's going to happen, and it's not going to end well for you, because that's one of the first things the communists do, is they come in and kill all of the judges.
Yeah. Yep. They don't want those judges anymore. They want their own
No,
people.
no.
But I mean, I'm gonna pop this out there. When you look at what the US judges are doing right up until maybe 10 days ago, what they were doing was literally zero bond, PR bond, and they were letting these people back on the streets, which is why we saw people with 29 convictions, 30 convictions, 45 convictions walking the streets. The problem we've got now is that even if the judges are starting to wake up, the damage has already been done. And getting those people and putting them in jail where they belong is going to take some serious police work. And when you look at the police departments today, after defund the police, I mean, who's going to make these arrests?
What do you know? We just found out today. The gentleman who was released in Charlotte, North Carolina, after having been convicted 39 times, that killed, what was her name, Elena
Irina.
Ostroushka.
Yep.
That judge or magistrate
Isn't even from North Carolina.
doesn't even have a residence in North Carolina.
Yeah, I saw that one. I saw that. This is where my question comes up. I mean, the ball is rolled down the field so far that recovering is going to take us a lot more of an effort. I mean, it's the same thing we say here in Pakistan. The terrorism ball has rolled so far down the field that trying to recover, trying to turn this thing backwards is going to take 10 times more effort than it would have if we'd done it right the first time.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I think what needs to happen first is we take the low hanging fruit, like this magistrate, and we make examples of them, and we punish them. And we punish them from something they're never going to come back from, and make those examples over and over and over again until the communists are beat into the ground.
You have to. I mean, astute, no matter how much we may hate the statement, but until you make an example of someone, no one learns their lesson. And when you have to teach a lesson harshly, it means you need to give a very harsh lesson. And if it means, throwing a magistrate in jail and saying, well, you weren't even allowed to be a magistrate, and that's a violation of our law, and you'll go to jail for this many years, that's a lesson for everybody to learn.
And that has to continue, not just at that one level. It has to continue. There's just a lot of things going on. So what do you think out of this thing that happened last week and continues to happen now with Afghanistan and Pakistan? What's the next steps here?
Well, right now, like I said, we've passed a new law in the next month from, I think the law was passed on the 12th of October. From the 12th of October to the 12th of November, every Afghani in the country needs to sell their business, sell their land, close their bank accounts, and get the hell out of our country. And we don't care where you go. Just get the hell out of our country. That's first thing. Second thing, the military operation will continue until it reaches its logical end. Logical end, most people are going to ask, what is the logical end? The logical end is the dismantling of the Taliban inside of Afghanistan, period. We have put out as an open statement, Pakistan has put this out as a government, that our choice is very simple. The Taliban resigns, we will let them leave in peace. They can go to whatever country they want, but they will leave Afghanistan, and they will allow a democratic government to hold free and fair elections and a government of the people will take over in Afghanistan. Which, to be very honest, if you were to ask me, I would like to see Ahmed Massoud take over as president of Afghanistan, because he, just like his father, has that leadership ability to run the country. So those are the two next steps. If you remember, a lot of people may have seen this run through on some of the news and on some of the X tweet posts. About 10 days ago, Taliban leadership started moving their families to Qatar, Dubai, and India, expecting a onslaught from the US if they refused to hand over Bagram. They got an onslaught from somebody else. And we have always said to the Taliban that we are not like the Americans, we are not like the Russians, we are not like NATO. We know every nook and cranny of Afghanistan. There is nowhere you can hide. We will find you wherever you go.
They didn't see that coming at all.
No, they kept. Someone said this to me the other day. They said, they kept poking the bear, and the bear finally woke up and said, "All right, wait a minute. Let me smack you like I should, and then you'll realize who you're playing with."
So what can Pakistan do to help put a stranglehold on their finances so that they can't just pull back and regroup somewhere else, like Venezuela, for instance?
Well, a lot. This is again the stupidity of a terrorist, because most of these Taliban members lived in Pakistan while the U.S. was inside of Afghanistan, so they have houses here, they have bank accounts here, they have businesses here. We know all of them. The government of Pakistan knows all of them. Pakistan has already issued the orders. This. These people's accounts are frozen. They cannot withdraw one rupee, $1, €1 cannot be pulled from their accounts. They cannot sell their businesses. They cannot sell their houses. Those all belong to the government of Pakistan. So we have taken millions of dollars away from you. Millions of dollars away from you. Second thing, if you may have precious metals, gold, silver, if you have that, you're welcome to take that with you. But I don't know what country is going to allow you to bring 50 kilos of gold into their country without asking where the hell did this come from. So you're stuck there as well. We are doing our best to handcuff them in such a way that if they leave Afghanistan, they have nothing to go away with. They will take the clothes on their back and they will go. Because
couldn't they just go to Venezuela and start over?
With what?
I mean, Venezuela's sympathetic to them.
Yeah, but with what? You can't take any money with you.
I'd say technically they don't really need to if they just come over there and say, "Hey, Maduro, we're going to work with you to do this and do that." I mean, we have similar things in the United States where we have money laundering laws and things like that. We have the ability to freeze assets, yet but we're not exercising that same authority for the people that are. I don't want to say they're directly funding because they're not, but the people that are creating the funding tunnels for Antifa and some of these other groups here, we're not exercising that. So if we don't do something to cut off their funding completely, then they'll just turn around and start over again. It's just like being a homeless guy who just all of a sudden became homeless through circumstances in his life. But hey, guess what? This is America. You can start over again.
I agree with you, but here's the thing. Your entire fund generation comes from either selling heroin, selling methamphetamines, or selling hashish.
Well,
Now,
and that was a point that I wanted to make earlier too, where we talked about some of the money that Taliban was getting was from their drug trade. Well, their drug trade is actually being supported by our freaking State Department.
CIA, your CIA supports it. That's the problem. And this is where we need Donald Trump to actually step up and say, look, we will no longer allow this to go on. The black fund that the CIA operates needs to be checked. It needs to be stopped, because that black fund is used for color revolutions. It's used for the drug trade. It is used for every single thing that is going wrong in the world, whether people want to accept that or not. I know to a lot of Americans, the CIA is the holy grail. We should not be touched. If you knew half of the things your CIA is doing around the world, you'd be screaming like John Kennedy was, saying, shut it down, break it into 1,000 pieces, and never let it restructure that way again.
Well, that's a double-edged sword too, because as long as you let it continue to exist, but if there's any chance of reforming what it does, then that's the direction that we have to take, because the minute you shut it down, it's like an NGO. If you shut down an NGO, they just go underwater and then they come back up as another monster. And then you have to re-recognize that and understand what their new tactics are. Because up to this point, they're still using the same playbook everywhere.
They
It
are.
has they're they've used it in Pakistan, they've used it in India, they've used it in
Yep.
Ukraine. They have done this to over 123 different countries across the world.
Yep.
So
Part of
if
the
you,
reason why you've never seen a democratic government in Pakistan is because of the CIA.
yeah, exactly.
I mean,
So that has to be stopped, and the only way to stop that is to take it completely down. And that, like I said, it's a double-edged sword. Do you take it down and then let it disappear and come back as an unrecognizable monster again, or do you let it continue to exist in some fashion so that you can at least keep an eye on it?
well, I'll give you an example of what we did. Our ISI before the Soviet conflict was very dormant, wasn't anywhere near the force that it is today. Uh, when Hamid Gul took over as the chief of the ISI here in Pakistan, we got involved in drug trade. We got involved in supporting the Mujahideen. We got involved in taking hundreds of thousands of dollars from Saudi Arabia, from Bin Laden, from everybody, and using that to fix elections, cause problems in other countries, support terror. It took us close to 25 years to realize what we were doing and how damaging it was to Pakistan. When we finally figured it out, then the ISI was changed. The mandate of the ISI was changed so that we could no longer play these games. A lot of people talk about how nasty and evil the ISI is. Yeah, it is. But we're not involved in the crap we were involved in before. Like
Well,
before, the Taliban were our
the difference is Pakistan punished the people that were doing the wrong things.
yeah.
And
And you have to do the same.
for some reason, we're not doing that. I mean, we keep hearing about, oh, James Comey got indicted, John Brennan's next, and so forth and so on. But we're not seeing that. And I think that's why the American people have lost any confidence that any of these people will be brought to be held accountable. And nobody wants to define what accountability looks like.
Yeah.
Accountability looks like people are going to prison,
Yeah.
people are going to hang. The death
Yeah.
penalty is on the table for treason, and it has to happen.
Yeah. Well, see, we've done it. I mean, again, I give you our example. The former chief of the ISI is now being court-martialed. He's literally in the docks right now being court-martialed. The four times removed, four chiefs previous was also court-martialed. And that's how we brought change, was that we're not going to tolerate this anymore. And if it keeps going, we get flunky governments that are beholden to the army. And a lot of people say this, Pakistan is controlled by the military. Yeah, we are controlled by the military because our politicians are such jerks. They're such criminals that we cannot allow politicians to run the country. And if you look at what's happening in the US right now, you're seeing the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Your Democrats are exactly the same as our politicians in Pakistan.
Once again, like I said, it's the same exact playbook over and over and over again.
But see, our playbook was given to us by foreign powers. We were taught that, the Americans would like so-and-so to be prime minister, so you make him prime minister. The Americans would like so-and-so to be army chief, so he becomes army chief. And that went on for a long time. And as much as I hate Imran Khan was the first one to stand up and go, no. I will decide who is my chief. I will decide who my director of the ISI is. I will decide. I don't need the dictation from the Americans. And that was the break point. The same thing was true with Musharraf. As duplicitous as Musharraf was, he also did the same thing. He controlled the ISI. He said, no. You will not play these games. We need the Americans to trust us. That means we need to show a modicum of maturity. If we don't, we are going to find ourselves being targeted by those bombers that are hitting Afghanistan and hitting Iraq. They'll be bombing Pakistan. So learn to behave or resign and leave. And
I love the way you put this.
We've seen the difference.
I love the way you put this, like you're talking to some children.
Well, look, this is as to you've gotten used to the way I talk. I mean, I always say it. You have to speak truth to power. If
Yeah.
you cannot speak truth to power, then you are going to be controlled by that power. And it's one of the things. I used to work for President Musharraf. I used to be one of his speechwriters. And Musharraf taught me this. He said, Khalid, what you have to do is no matter who it may be, no matter how high rank he may be, no matter how big of an officer he may be, if he does something wrong, say it to him. Whatever happens, happens. But say it to him. At least your conscience is clear. And I learned that from him that, it doesn't matter who I may piss off with what I say. You talk to people like your children.
That's why you and I get along so well, because I'm of the same mind.
Well, I really wish that Donald Trump would do the same thing, to turn around to John Radcliffe and say, this black fund you guys run at the CIA, I'd like to see an accounting of what that money's used for. Because I don't like what's going on. I'd like to see what's being used.
That's because there isn't one.
They can't show an account. I'm sure there is a book someplace that has how they spend that money. I don't know how many. I don't know if I've ever said this on broadcast or not. But do you know your CIA pays the Taliban an additional $100 million just to cover up for all the fuck ups they made in Afghanistan while the U.S. was there?
For some reason, I can believe that.
That is something that very few Americans know about.
So basically, the Taliban is blackmailing the CIA.
No. The CIA does not want the Taliban or anything that they did wrong in Afghanistan to ever come out. So what they do is, listen, here's what we're going to do. Very quietly, we're going to give you $100 million. Don't tell anyone where we screwed up here. And for me, that's like, you're literally paying a terror organization not to talk about you. And how bad of an intelligence agency are you when you have to pay a terror group? That's like saying Mossad needs to pay Hamas on top of beating them up. They need to pay them X amount of money so they don't tell about all the things that Mossad is actually has done in Gaza.
Well, yeah, but don't tell anybody. But Hamas was created by Mossad.
Yeah,
so.
You and I, anyone who knows. But yeah, and yes, that's on top of the 80 million a week. That's on top of what you guys know about. This is the first time we're publicly admitting this. The CIA pays $100 million to the Taliban to keep their mouth shut about all the screw ups they made in Afghanistan. This is the first time you're hearing this publicly.
So, as the Afghan routes close for the Taliban, what are they going to do with their human trafficking and illicit drug transport through Syria and Libya?
Well, they can see. Here's where the problem is. We need not only for things to change in Afghanistan, but we need for some sense to come to some Pakistanis. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, the new chief minister of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, the border province of Afghanistan, was brought into power. His brother is probably one of the largest smugglers of methamphetamines in the entire country. His brother's just been made chief minister. He's the chief executive of the entire province.
Oh, so we have a Venezuela cartel del Sol going on in Afghanistan. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So what the problem we have is Pakistanis are the smuggling route, either through Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, or Pakistan. And the greatest amount of traffic comes through Pakistan. Back, I think this was 1999, 2000, 2001. Emirates Airlines, very famous airline, everyone knows Emirates, was about to start running flights from Peshawar, Pakistan. So Emirates sat down with the government and with the airline, with the airport security, and said, listen, we know about all the crap you guys do with smuggling drugs. We don't want that happening on airlines. And all the government and the airline security said, no, sir. That'll never happen, sir. Don't worry, sir. That'll never happen, sir. They said, okay, well, our first flight comes in 2 days from now, and please make sure there's no drugs on the plane. Plane came in, landed, crew loaded up all the cargo. Flight went to Dubai, landed in Dubai, passengers were deplaned, and half an
Plane
hour
was
later,
searched.
all the passengers were put back on the plane, and the plane was flown back to Peshawar. No one understood what happened. Plane landed in Peshawar, call came from Dubai saying, all the shit you put on that plane, take it off. It was so loaded with drugs that they had to do that. Better example, during Benazir Bhutto's government, this is 1989, 1992, during Benazir's government, and you guys can look up this name, Ayub Afridi, the most prolific drug smuggler in Pakistan, not only Pakistan's history, but a competitor to Pablo Escobar, sat down with Benazir, who was the prime minister of the country, and said, listen, I can wipe out Pakistan's national debt. Just give me one flight where you just let me take off from here. I will handle everything in the US. You don't even need to worry about it. Just give me permission to take one flight off.
So I want to shift over to something here real quick. It's probably the only question I'm going to ask about this. We hear a lot of stuff in the UK about the Pakistani gangs and things like that over there. Why isn't the UK doing anything about them?
When you have
and are those the Taliban that are there?
Well, here's the interesting thing. If you break down the numbers of all of the sexual assault cases that have happened in the UK,
Afghans.
78% are Afghani. Only 12% are Pakistani. So they're being branded as Pakistanis because they have bought a Pakistani passport, but they're actually Afghani. Because when they're questioned, they say, "Oh yeah, we're Afghani. We're not Pakistani." And this is a problem that even Europe has seen now. In Germany, the reason they want to deport so many Afghanis is they figured out these people are criminals. They are going to come and harass the women. They're going to commit crimes. They are going to bring weapons. They are going to create all kinds of issues in our country that Germany is trying to deport something in the neighborhood of 40 or 50,000 Afghanis back to Afghanistan. And the terror rights organizations, again, are screaming, saying that no, if you send them to Afghanistan, they're going to be executed, they're going to have this happen. Wait a minute. If you're so happy that you want them to stay, move them into your house. Let them stay with your daughter. Let's see how long you tolerate them.
Yeah. So now that we know that there's a level of deception going on there with that, what do we do to combat this coordinated disinformation campaign that Afghanistan's been putting out?
Well, you've got two problems, and these are two problems that we have not been able to figure out yet either. On one side, you have all of these quote unquote soldiers and officers that were part of the Afghan National Army that are now defense contractors in the US. They are the biggest lobbyists for the Taliban. So how do you counter them? Then you have people inside of the US government like Zalmay Khalilzad, Seb Gorka, who believe that the Taliban is a very good partner and they are the partner for peace in Afghanistan. How do you counter them? Then you've got all of the Afghanis that have gone from Afghanistan to the US because they helped US forces while they were in Afghanistan. And they've set up NGOs, and their NGOs are working for the Taliban. They're sending money and food and clothing and all kinds of stuff to the Taliban in Afghanistan. Then you have US vets, and this is something most people don't know yet. There are a number of US veterans that served in Afghanistan that are working directly with the Taliban's General Director of Intelligence by passing over.
And I can guess there's a few well-known ones that I could probably name right now, but I won't.
We won't. We don't want that strike. We don't want people, creating that problem. But there are a lot of US vets and a lot of people who have been talking about 9/11 2.0 have all been targeted because of those vets. Their names, their addresses, their phone numbers have all been given out because of those vets. So you've got 4 levels to deal with in the US of how you counter this. And honestly, I can't tell you how to counter it because it's so widespread throughout. It's like Muslim Brotherhood. How do you stop Muslim Brotherhood when you can't figure out where their head pops out and where their foot is?
Well, for the United States, you declare them a foreign terrorist organization because it's been proven they have ties to the Taliban. So that's an easy one. Now the State Department just has to have the balls to do it.
Yeah, but how do you do it with U.S. vets? I mean, how do you take a U.S. someone who fought in GWAT and is now working with the GDI of the Taliban, passing information on people who are either speaking out against the Taliban and their abuses in Afghanistan, speaking out on Taliban terror attacks that could be carried out in the U.S.? How do you deal with them?
The easiest way to find out who they are is to look at the kind of money that they're making right now.
Yeah.
Because I tell you this, as a veteran myself, you don't come back from these conflicts and make this kind of money without some kind of support coming from somewhere.
Yep.
And you don't
Yep.
get the kind of notoriety that some of these people have gotten without support from somewhere.
Yep.
So that's the easiest way. And the only way that I could say that you would be able to counter this would be to call them out, get the receipts, call them out, and then have them. They have if any of them are still on the, what do they call that? The interim reservist list. If
Yep.
any of them are still within that status, reinstate them back into their former positions and call them to the floor under a courts martial.
Yeah, but I mean, we are looking at so many levels of the snake that exist in the U.S. that trying to stop the negative. Okay, anytime we say something that's true, there are 20 people in the U.S. that say don't listen to what they're saying. That's not true.
Yeah.
We are fighting them on a regular basis. Going,
and that's where you say we have to speak truth to power, and you only
That's
do
why
that, and you only do that through action.
Yeah, that's why we do it. Because I mean, even right now with the bombing that's going on in Afghanistan, you have so many people in the U.S. that are criticizing Pakistan for bombing, and I am literally turning around going, dude, buy a ticket, come back, fight the Taliban yourself, and then criticize us. When you stand up for your own country, then we don't have to stand up for it.
So if you had to say if there was a call to action for people in America, what would you say their call to action would be?
Well, first off, demand the truth. You've got so many things being hid from you, whether it be Syria, whether it be Libya, whether it be Afghanistan, whether it be Iran, whether it be Iraq. There are so many things being hidden from the U.S. people. When the U.S. population does not know what's going on this side of the world, you're not making educated decisions. And that is the objective. As long as they keep you distanced from what's going on in Terror Central, you cannot make a decision on where the focus should be. Yes, you have a war going on inside your own country, but this war is coming to your country as well. They will find a way to get into America and do it there as well. Until you know what's going on, you cannot make a decision on that side. So first thing is making sure that even if you're not getting it through the mainstream media, start following those people who are talking about what's going on this side of the world, and make sure you vet them. Make sure that what they're saying matches what other people from this side of the world is saying as well. As long as you are seeing one person saying something, another person saying something else, another person saying something else, another person saying something else, you don't know who to trust. One of the things that you find with us, me, Sarah, Legend, the three of us talk in the same language. We are always bringing up what's going on in Afghanistan. We're always bringing up what's going on in Afghanistan. The reason we're bringing it up is because we know that you have Seb Gorka sitting right next to the president saying, no, Afghanistan is not a major issue. You don't need to focus on that. The more you take your focus off Afghanistan, the bigger chances of a major terror attack inside the U.S. The fact that someone like Kash Patel is sitting as director FBI and he is going out and telling people that the Al-Qaeda homeland plot is clickbait. Can you prove it's clickbait? Because we can prove it's a real attack. Can you prove it's clickbait? This is where we always come back to saying truth to power. I don't care if you're director FBI. I know what I'm saying is true. I have the intelligence to back it up. Do you have the intelligence to back up your statement of this as being clickbait? When you can formulate a position inside the U.S. government, everything will change. The 40 million a week should have been stopped the day that Donald Trump took his oath as president of the United States. That shouldn't have been paused at all. The fact that that bill is still sitting in the Senate of the United States and no one put it up for a vote before the shutdown happened is a disgrace to America. You are paying the terrorists to attack you. And until that becomes a regular statement that we are paying our enemies to attack us, that will not take any kind of hold. So that's the call to action right there. Stop sending that money. Once you stop sending that money, you'll see the Taliban government will collapse. Because
so I'll be a little more laser focused on what that call to action is.
Yeah.
For a lot of people that don't know, there is a bill called "Stop Funding the Taliban" that is sitting currently. Pardon me.
Very simple name. Very.
I think it's sitting. I don't think it's sitting in Congress right now. I think it's sitting before the Senate right now,
Yep.
and they won't bring it to the floor for a vote. And what you need to do is to call your congressmen, call your senators, and put pressure on them to get this bill passed. It's a very good step forward to stopping the influence that the Taliban has in this country. The next step would be to pressure your congressmen and your senators to have the Muslim Brotherhood designated as a foreign terrorist organization. With those two steps in place, I think that those are two very good steps forward in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah. Because look, Muslim Brotherhood is the recruiting arm in the US and in the UK for Al-Qaeda. When people start to figure that out and they start hammering the State Department saying, as long as the Muslim Brotherhood operates inside of US borders, you have Al-Qaeda operating inside of US borders. Third action step, make sure that your State Department and your president never recognize the Taliban as the legitimate government of Afghanistan. They are not legitimate at all.
There you go. Okay, so let's take a break for a second. Nick, if you didn't mind bringing up the Carnival, and we'll come back with the hero of the day. Nick, there you go. Nope. Nick,
Carnival.
we need the Carnival roar, man. Okay, now we need the hero of the day. So I haven't watched this. I don't know what this is. Okay, here we go. This dog saved all her puppies from a fire and put them all in one of the fire trucks on the scene. How many likes for this hero, Mama Dog? Please, we need your help to stay in this social network. Say something about our posts. Yes, yum or smile emoticon will do, or we'll completely disappear from your newsfeed. Appreciate your help. So, not sure if there's a video for this or not.
Oh, it's just pictures for this one.
Okay, so this mother saved her puppies, which proves that even man's best friend sometimes has more morals than a lot of
Man stuff.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do the conflicted question to wrap this up now. And this is a very simple one for those of you who are new with us. I will say it again. What we do is I read the conflicted question at the beginning of the show so you have time to ponder it. And then we'll read it again at the end of the show. And we want you to smash that thumbs up or that like button, whichever platform you're on. And I will read the question and we will wait for your answers in the chat. Here we go. Describe 5 things someone can do to prepare for the collapse of society. Khalid, this one goes to you.
Food, shelter, weapons, transport, and a mutual assistance group.
Okay. Mine's is pretty similar. Mine's is bullets, band-aids, water, shelter, and fuel.
Fuel, yes. Transport cannot run without fuel. Yeah.
Right. Don't collect water, food, TP, ammo, blankets, and guns. Okay, Doherty.
Okay, TP I can understand not collecting, but ammo, blankets, and guns and food, why not?
Hey, I'm going down to all of the truck stops. I got like 3 truck stops nearby here. I'm going to all of the truck stops, and all of the toilet paper dispensers are going to start getting empty. Seriously, they got those big rolls of toilet paper in the truck stops, man. Those last forever. I mean, it's like
They do.
it's John Wayne toilet paper. It doesn't take shit
Yeah.
and rough as hell. Okay, we're not getting much of the. Okay, we're getting some in the chat over here. All right.
Yeah.
So okay, Khalid, you go ahead, bring it home, and we're gonna call this a night.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, we gave you a lot of information tonight. Some of it is applicable to the U.S. Some of it is a lot of knowledge that you're not getting in the U.S. One of the reasons we tell you to follow Command 11, it's not because I'm looking for likes and follows. I am making sure that you guys get the information you need. You will find that even though I am a Muslim, I am very anti-terror. I am very anti those groups that are considered pro-Muslim groups because they're not pro-Muslim groups. Please pay attention. Please listen, because you're being sold a line of crap. The Western media is trying to sell you things that are not true. Like, and I see it here in the chat, how Idaho Air Base is going to be allowed to be used by the Qatar Air Force to be trained. Qatar is the banker for every terrorist group in the world. They are the safe haven for every terror group in the world. You're going to let them train their military at a base inside the United States? You've got to be joking me. I mean, when that announcement was made, I just went, "Are you kidding? Really?"
I do want to say one thing with regard to that.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to know the United States is not building a special base for this. We've been doing this. Every single government across the Middle East that has any of our weapons, we've been bringing them over here and training them in existing bases. They're just going to allow them to use a facility that already exists.
Yeah, but question for you, S2. Just a quick question for you. There's a great American base inside of Qatar. Why can't you train them there?
That's a good question. And that's where CENTCOM is. That's where CENTCOM is.
CENTCOM is, exactly. I mean, when you've got CENTCOM sitting right there, why not train them there? Why are you bringing them to the U.S. and training them there?
Because that's probably not where they do their Air Force training.
They've got a lot of Air Force planes there.
Yeah, true. But yeah, who knows? It's a lot easier to get control of an enemy if you bring them close in.
That's true. That's true.
And that way you don't have to worry about them going home and telling their brother, "Hey, you know what? Yeah, I was out flying an airplane today, but guess what else I saw in that base?"
Yeah. That's true.
So you control the battle space in that way. That's the only reason I can think for it.
That makes sense. But I mean, that's something that made me go, wait a minute. They've got a major U.S. military base. CENTCOM is there. Why bring them to the U.S. and train them? Why not just train them in Qatar and say, you have a base there anyway, and we'll just bring the planes, we'll train you on the plane, and we'll fly it back to the U.S. once we're done training. So that's a tangent we won't even get into.
Yeah, I just wanted to clear the air on that because everybody went ballistic over that. We're building a base for them. No, we're not.
We're not building a base for them. We're just training them. And as Stu's right, the U.S. military has trained numerous militaries on U.S. hardware, on U.S. soil. But at this point, a country like Qatar, who is playing not only a double game, but a triple game with the U.S., I wouldn't want them anywhere near any of my military bases. That's just my own point of view. That's like me saying, yeah, let's train Indians on a Pakistani air base. No. I don't care how close you want to keep. No, I will not let them on my air bases. But look, the reason we say this is that we want you guys to understand what's going on this side of the world. One of the reasons the Command 11 and Survival Dispatch linked up was that you're getting a great picture of what's happening in the U.S., but you're not getting a picture of what's happening on the other side of the world that affects you more than what you realize. whatever the Taliban or Al-Qaeda is doing on this side of the world is going to affect you at some point. And if you don't know what's coming, you don't know how to lobby your senators, you don't know how to lobby your congressmen, you don't know how to prepare your law enforcement, you don't know how to prepare yourselves. And our end goal, I mean, I don't care if law enforcement listens, I don't care if senators listen, I don't care if congressmen listen or not. That's not my intention, because I know how thick-headed they are, and banging them against the wall a few times will still not get them to listen. My interest is those of you who are watching us are prepared for whatever is coming. And whatever is coming, we try and make our best effort to give you not only credible intelligence, but timelines and help and understanding on how you can prepare for what's coming. So the objective that we have, me, S2, Chris, everybody on the Survival Dispatch panel, our goal is to make sure you're ready for whatever's coming to the US. And hopefully in January, I'll be home as well. And once I'm home, then I'll do, you know, beer and barbecues with everybody. But please pay attention. The world is moving very fast. And the speed that it's moving at, you're going to get hit before you realize that the punch is coming. And our intent is to make sure you see the punch coming before they even make that fist. So stay tuned in. Keep watching. There's a lot of exclusive information we give to you here on Survival Dispatch. Shout out to the Carnival guys. I'm still waiting. I know you guys are out of stock, but I'm still waiting because I've heard so many great things about Carnival. I really, 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 really want to try this out because I'm tired of hearing about it. I actually want to taste it now. So if you guys are watching, I'm still waiting for my first package to arrive. But
I'm hoarding mine.
Huh? You're hoarding yours? Yeah, I'm gonna find where you live, S2. I'm gonna find where you But with that, we'll wrap up tonight's episode. S2, you have anything to add before I close?
Nope, I'm good to go, man.
All right, man. So for me and S2, thank you for joining us tonight. Until tomorrow, when you come back, we'll be back into the Long War series. I hope this information gave you a lot of understanding. We'll keep updating you on what's going on here in Pakistan because we keep getting called into the war room. So there's a lot of things that we can talk about. There's a lot of things that we still cannot talk about because we still have people on the other side of the border. But thank you for joining us, and like, share, comment, and until next time, God bless America.
Hoorah.
Fire!